What's good? It's your boy Logic back in here with another video. It's been a minute, but I'm back. Um, we need to talk about the differences between men and women and why the rift seems to be growing wider and wider. Um, the goal in life is to find someone that you can spend the rest of your life with. Um, the goal is to build a family and pass on like your legacy, the teachings, your ideals, um, um, a foundation that you can kind of pass on to the next generation to kind of help them along their way so they don't start from scratch. Like we already know that a lot of people are being raised in single parent households, um, lack of foundation, and pretty much leaving it up to the world to raise these young children. And of course, the world's always going to play a role in raising the kids because once they get out there, they're going to be faced with choices they're going to have to make, and you're not going to be there to guide them all the time. So the best way you can really help them is establishing a certain mindset that possibly came from your upbringing, then also recognizing that the times will change. But give them a base like to use, and then, like I said, they'll adjust accordingly because they always will. Kids, they'll never really just follow what the parent says. They're gonna challenge you at times, and they're gonna make mistakes, and then you're gonna have to be there to kind of like support them, correct them, try to recorrect them back on the path that not necessarily that you best see fit, but hopefully it's gonna just help them in general. You know what I'm saying? It's all about how you go about it too. You don't want to push your kid away um, by being too stern, and you don't want to be too soft. It's a real balancing act, and sometimes you just get dealt a bad hand with kids. I know people don't want to hear that, like, um, you know, like like your kid can always um, correct themselves. So some kids just, I mean, you'll just be in a situation where your kid just fucked up. They don't care. Maybe they got traumatized or hurt somewhere in life, um, and maybe there's just something wrong with them in the head. And I'm of the mindset after a certain period of time, you might have to just wipe your hands with them, not to the point where you just like forget they exist, but you knew you did the best you could, and until they can come around and really look inside themselves and come back to you and say, look, mom, pop, whatever, um, I fucked up, then you kind of gotta wipe your hands with them. But that's the future. We're trying to get to that point, but not even being able to connect or raise the kid in a two parent household. You know, we won't even get to that point if we can't fix us first, right? So um, we need to talk about reality and logic. All right, reality and logic. Um, what men want versus what women want, and why we kind of want it and stuff like that. It's like men are simple creatures, and we get a lot of flack for that. Like, we're like so basic um, that like like we're like robots that are just programmed to do a couple things and nothing else. And women kind of try to use that, and I'm always trying to explain, like, look, there's a beauty in the simplicity. We're not hard to figure out. Um, I think it makes it very easy for a woman to adjust to what a man does. A lot easier for a man to adjust what a woman does. I mean, a woman can have a man jumping through millions of hoops with no gain. My thing is just Men want simple things. All right. I mean, first off, you have to find a good person. That's up to the woman to vet these men. Um, how you vet them, you know, that will come into play because you can't be too judgmental. You can't be too harsh. You can push a good man away right off the bat. Um, based on what you really value and what you're seeking, you have to be really realistic when it comes to what you're looking for and where you are in the sexual marketplace. I mean, every girl's gonna call themselves a 10. That's where you screw up right out the gate with that type of mindset. As soon as you say like you think you're a 10, or hell, as soon as you say you're an 8, 9, or 10, I'm like this. Most women in the world are not 8, 9s, and 10s. But most women in the world will say they are 8, 9, or 10. Think about it like this. If you were if every woman was to humble themselves, maybe consider themselves a 5, 6, 7 at best. All right. Let's just say even the girls that are 8, 9, or 10. Let's say they consider themselves a between 5 and 7. Think of it like this: what what could it hurt to rank yourself at a 5, 6, or 7? All right. Let's just say, let's just start there. Let's say you're either a 5, 6, or 7. Even if you are better than that, let's just say you put yourself at a 5, 6, or 7. You'll be coming into a relationship not overvaluing yourself. And there's a difference between um, overvaluing yourself and assuming that that means you're going to take more crap from somebody because um, you think your value is lower. Every human, regardless of value, deserves respect, and that'll come between any number that you put yourself on the scale. But for some reason, women feel like if the lower they rank themselves, the less respect they'll receive, or the less crap they'll take, or whatever like that. You can still hold on to those values, being a 5, 6, or 7. But what it will do is it'll open the pool of men for you. Because here's the thing: most women will find a decent man um, between in the I'll say 30 to 60 percenters. Not a high value man, which is probably in the top 20, 10, 5%. Now, but every woman wants that top 5 or 10% dude. But here's the thing: certain mindsets come with the 5 and 10% dudes. Their way of life is going to be a lot different. The way they earn their livings was a lot different, and what they feel like they deserve is a lot different. Now, here's the thing about being a high value man: that a man's value is very tangible. It can be seen, it can be calculated, it could be, we can actually see the worth. Now, the thing about a high value woman is that her value is based in untangibles. Now, I'll say this: there is one tangible, but it's what do you call it? Um, it's up to the person. It's not necessarily universal. It's what the fuck's the word? It can be um 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 it's like, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, if she thinks she's a 10, that's her value of herself, but she would have to be called a 10 by everybody else in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, she can't just believe she's a 10. The rest of the world has to believe her a 10, because you can't force anybody to see you as a 10. And then and so that's tangible, but it's very it fluctuates, and eventually over time it's just going to decrease just naturally. Now, a man's value is usually based on like his income. I mean, his looks come into play, but the more money he makes, the less he got to look. The less likely he has to look good. Now, a woman can have, it doesn't matter how much money a woman has, she'll look the same to a man in his eyes. So a man's value is very tangible. You can see it. If he's driving a certain car, if he's dressed a certain way, if he lives a certain lifestyle, you can see it. You check his bank account, you can see it. You can calculate it. You know what his value is. And chances are, as he gets older, he's going to accumulate more value. Yeah, his looks are going to decrease, but another value is going to increase. Now, here's the thing, there are certain things that a woman can increase as they get older, but here's the difference is that the other things weigh way more heavily against her, um, if she's trying to increase her value in other ways. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's say she's feminine. Let's say she's a good homemaker. She knows how to cook. She's very submissive. She's very cooperative. Um, but let's say she doesn't look like she looks like dog shit. All right. Well, her looking like dog shit is going to subtract from the value she brought. Um, 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 Way more than what a man's looks would subtract from his value, his like money, his income, his status, and stuff. Um, if she bring in other kids into the relationship from a past relationship, that's going to subtract heavily. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then if she were to bring some type of trauma, whether it be like attitude because of from past relationships, that's going to subtract heavily because a man doesn't want to come home to another battlefield after leaving a battlefield. All right. So a woman has to understand that, um, see, her values are intangible. Like her submissiveness, her cooperation, her kind character, um, her cooperation, all these things, um, they're intangibles. And ultimately, you have to bring this into a relationship from jump. A lot of girls like to say, well, I only submit to the guys that are worth it, and I'm only going to do this and that to the guys that are worth it. I'm like, here's the thing. If you're not on display like that, chances are a man's going to see that, okay, this isn't really how she is. She's turning it on and off like a light switch. And at any point in time in our relationship, she may feel like I'm not worthy of her submissiveness, and she could easily just turn it off. Now, think about a man's wealth. All right, if he brought you into his home and y'all start a relationship, he's not gonna just turn off his wealth. He's not gonna move you in the house and then all of a sudden he gonna just slide you into a shack. His wealth is always gonna be there. His resources will always be there. I mean, not counting like he, bankruptcy and the worst case scenario where stocks fall, whatever he was invested in, if his company falls apart or whatever like that. But just in general, his outside of him just cutting you loose because the relationship falls apart, while you're with him, that value will always be there. It's tangible. It's a resource that you can use. It's used on a daily basis, just passively. So a guy would want your submissiveness, your cooperation, your femininity. He would like to enjoy that passively, not, oh, she's turning it off today. Oh, she's not feeling it today, and blase blah. Because as that man's going to war every day to bring home that paycheck, to come home on a day that you ain't feeling like being part of his program is a shot in the head to him. You know what I'm saying? Like a shot in the heart. Um, and it's that's just the way it is. You have to live feminine. You have to live submissively. Of course, not be taken advantage of and stuff like that. I understand you have to really know who the person you're going after. Now, like, look, um, here's pretty much the main point. All right, most likely you're gonna have to be submissive and have a caring character to the average everyday Joe. There's just too many of them. Like if there's a top 10, 20% man out there, well, not counting the bottom of the barrel, like 90%. Well, like I said, I'm meeting you in the middle in that 60 percentile dude. Um, you're chances are you're going to have to display these type of characteristics to a guy like that. And here's the thing, most men will have a scarcity mindset, meaning that a good thing is hard to come by, all right, which means the value of it increases. So your value, whatever you thought you was or whatever, that value gets doubled or tripled when you enter into a market where you're just hard to come by. And I'm sorry that a high value man does not have a scarcity mindset. A true alpha will will get women thrown at him with minimal effort. Just him showing up, just him saying hi could easily get him someone of a high status. So I'm not saying to aim lower. I'm just saying that the end goal of life is to be happy and have a partner. All right. You're not gonna always have a partner that's gonna make a ton of money, this, that, and the other. But um, you would really have to value money over everything else, like love, companionship, trust, um, and that'd be your downfall. All right, because the average everyday Joe will value you. Chances are he will value you a lot more highly and protect you as an asset and care for you and try to make sure that you're well off as good as he can provide. But the problem is how good he can provide is the thing that you'll judge and you'll discredit because you may think you're entitled to something more. I say here's the thing: you're entitled to happiness. All right. Now, if you putting money so high up there in that happiness bubble, that's your problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, money is not going to solve anything. Not going to solve everything. There's going to be times where you're emotionally distraught. Can I throw money at you and it's going to just fix your problems, or do you want somebody that's going to really care about you, talk to you, work with you? All that shit's free. You know what I'm saying? Is driving a new car gonna keep it, like, let's say you're going through some shit at work and you bought, whatever. Is buying you a new car gonna fix your issue? It might take your mind off of for a little bit, but if you ain't really working through it, it's just gonna build, just destroy you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these things, money's not gonna really solve that shit. All right, but women put money on such a high, table. I understand the world's harsh, and you wanna, you know, have some type of income. That's why I said the 60 percenters. They're making money. They're the average everyday Joe, but see, you don't see nothing special about them. I said, I say like having um, a happy life, someone who's honest, who's caring. That's where the special part is, not the flashy shit. All right. So you just, like I said, chances are you'll have to aim for a 60 percenter, you know, because a high value man, sorry to say this, is you'll probably have to share that high value man. All right. Men aren't born with the kind of value women are born with out the gate. Most men will have to work for their value. They'll have to go out there, they have to slay the beast, bring home the bacon, and compete against other high value men to try to be at the top. That's probably what makes them so attractive, because you see them that they're hardworking men. But here's the thing: chances are when they were coming up, they weren't getting a lot of women. A lot of women looked over them, um, didn't think they were shit. And now that he's built up, they're doing a double take now. All right. But here's the thing: his value of women is going to be a little bit lower. For one, he can look back on his life and see that they didn't think he was shit. And two, now that they're just coming in droves, there's a mindset of why settle for one when you could have many. You know what I'm saying? So he came from a scarcity mindset, but then it did a 180, and now it's a plentiful mindset. A 60 percenter is always going to be in a scarcity mindset, more likely than not. And a lot of guys teach a man not to be in a scarcity mindset, and ultimately, a scarcity mindset is at the detriment of a man, but it is at the benefit of a woman. It's just that you have to catch him in a scarcity mindset before he flips the table. Because a lot of men right now, they're flipping the table. Um, they're um um they're going their own way. They're walking away from women as far as when it comes to serious relationships and taking them seriously. So um, it's up to women to bag these guys and end up molding the future of men for future women. You know, here's the thing: like a lot of women complain about men ain't shit, men ain't doing this, men ain't doing that, and I'm gonna ultimately tell you that. And like I said, you're really not gonna like want to hear this shit, but it's the women's fault. And whether I have like a statistic or anything like that, like I said, this is the logic lifestyle. All we got to do is play the numbers and think logically on this. All right. Most men are probably raised by a single mother, so they're getting a lot of their influences from a woman. All right. So she's the foundation of their upbringing. So we can always start right there. All right. Boom. Being raised by a woman, um, and then going into the world becoming a quote unquote shitty dude. All right, who's to blame for there? All right, now let's flash forward. Let's say he refused that type of upbringing, and he's just going into the dating market, going up against a lot of women. I mean, trying to trying to see what the women do. Now a guy's gonna get shat on. This is where that "who hurt you" thing kind of happened. I'm like, here's the thing: women use the "who hurt you" way more often than a man will use that. And there's a reason for that. Because everybody knows that a woman can get a man very easily. Even the most subpar women can get hundreds of men in their inbox with no real effort. A man has to work 10 times as hard just to get one chick. All right. So, like I said, logic, let's play the numbers. If a woman is more likely to pull men, um, it is easy. I mean, it's easy to state that that woman it can easily fuck over. Let's say those 100 men. Let's say there's 100 men in her inbox. She's one woman with 100 men in her inbox, and eventually she's gonna have to go out with some of these men. Some of these men she'll ghost. Some of these men she'll ignore. Some of these men she'll go out with and break up with. So the men that she ignores, ghosts, goes out with and break up, all those men are going to get hurt. They're going to get hurt because she never showed up. They're going to get hurt because she never replied. And they're going to get hurt because they're going to go out on a date and it's not going to go well and she's going to leave their ass. So she can fuck over all those men. Let's say she actually picks one. She's an honest girl. She picks one. All right. So she picked one and then the 99 gets shat on. So she put men into the marketplace that have all been shat on by her. Now flip it, a man, he has to work very hard. Let's say he might have two girls in his inbox. He tried hard. He's trying to get into girls' inboxes, and he only got two that really responded. Let's say he's shitty as fuck though, and he goes out with the girls and he shits on those two girls. All right, that one dude shat on two girls. He put out two girls into the marketplace that let's say he left traumatized. He shat on. All right. So who's putting out more damaged people into the marketplace? Play the numbers. Everybody knows that a woman can easily get men in the inbox. I have a friend that was on a dating app and she day one she said her inbox was full in day one and she don't even look like nothing. Now, I'm sorry to say that. I mean she's my friend, but she didn't look like shit. I'd give her a solid five. And her inbox got full. So when we're talking about who hurt you, why our men ain't shit, my this, that, and the other, that's because women put those men out there. All right. and then further perpetuate their behavior by dating these assholes, bad boys, whatever, because it shows that, man, to get what you want, you got to be a bad boy or asshole. But in the long run, the bad boys and assholes eventually dump you. But then for some reason, you go back. So you shit on dudes, turn them in. You either create a subspecies of guys that are turning away from women, and then you create a guy that has to turn into a bad boy, which for long term use doesn't work out. Women fucked up the marketplace. On top of demanding high value men who will have um, a plentiful mindset, meaning that um, girls are interchangeable. And if you do find a high value man that's really going to settle down and falls in love with you, a harsh reality is, men treat sex differently. It's not as intimate for them as it is for you, especially to a high value man. I mean, that he'll love you, he'll take care of you, he'll spend his resources on you, but chances are he's going to be having sex with somebody else. Now, if you establish a certain kind of code where he doesn't rub it in your face, bring home any other kids or diseases, and don't embarrass you and shit, and in return he allows you to enjoy his resources, then um, that'll be the trade-off you'll have for a top 5-10% guy. I don't know if you'll like that, and you might be thinking that, well, I'll get to cheat too, or have an open relationship too. There's a chance that he might even accept that, but he might not. I'll say more likely than not he won't. And you might be like, man, that's not fair. I'm like, look, here's the thing. Depending on how high value he is, his resources will be worth more than you being able to go out and mess with another dude, because he's the provider of the resource. Um, it's weighed way more heavy. You're actually talking about a resource that can set up future generations, and you're trying to throw that away so you can sleep around too. Like, that's the thing. Like, he's the holder of possibly future generations upbringing. You know what I'm saying? And you're trying to play tit for tat when it comes to sleeping around too, trying to be in the same level, but you never were. The fact that you went for a high value man shows that you weren't in the same level. All right, there's more women in the world than men, and there's more high value men than there are high value women, especially nowadays. Because tell me this, how many women are out there actually know how to cook, clean, submissive, cooperative, inspirational, um, uplifting, all that, compared to the high value men? That's just something to think about, and that's the reality of it. So what I'm trying to tell women out there is that I'm not telling you to lower your expectations. I'm telling you to be truthful about where you stand in the marketplace. Even at, like I said, just think about this. Just rate yourself um, like a 5, 6, or 7, and don't go out there thinking that you're just gonna people that are just gonna accept you are gonna be trash. No, what it'll do is it'll open up your pool and it'll let you see people for who they really are. I'm letting you know ahead of time that a high value man, chances are you're not gonna be the only chick that he's messing with. And um, a high value man is constantly fighting his programming. His programming is to sleep with as many women as possible, and he's been bombarded by that by everyday thing. And because he became high value and those women are coming out the woodworks, he doesn't have the years of resistance that a woman has. Like, from 16, as soon as a girl gets like a first period or whatever, guys are already throwing themselves at him since grade school. So by the time you're 20, 25, it's nothing to you, and you've kind of probably learned how to shift through these things. So you're telling a high value man who probably never had all that to just act like they're a woman who's been going through this type of shit for years. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. It's probably not possible. So it's one of those realities. Um, One of those reality checks you just have to realize. So going after a high value man is going to come with trade offs. there is no Prince Charmer. There is no perfect guy at the end of the day. So I just wanted to let y'all know that. This is Marvin Brown, aka Logic, back here with another video, and I'll talk to you later. Peace.